Ipsos polling exclusively for Global News finds if an election were held tomorrow, the national popular vote would show a tie between the Liberals and Conservatives. The NDP would garner 20% of the vote, the Green Party 8%, and the Bloc 6%. 14% aren't sure who they may vote for, and 6% say they don't plan to vote at all. A majority of Canadians, 53%, approve of the Liberal government's performance, and 43% believe Justin Trudeau's Liberals have done a good job and deserve to be re-elected. If all those who feel this way vote for their Liberal candidate, the Liberals would win a majority government. The Liberals have the advantage in the regions with the most seats: Ontario, Quebec, and Atlantic Canada. In BC, the Liberals, Conservatives, and NDP are in a tight three-way race. But new Conservative leader Erin O'Toole could win a plurality of seats with his fortunes bright in traditional prairie strongholds Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, where the Conservatives lead, with the NDP as the second most popular party. Justin Trudeau at 39% remains the top pick for Prime Minister, over Erin O'Toole at 32%, Jagmeet Singh at 23%, and Yves-François Blanchet at 7%.
Unlike most political jurisdictions in Canada where politicians have seen a real increase in terms of approval from the public, we're not seeing that at the federal level right now. If we were to hold an election tomorrow, the results would be fairly similar to what they were just about a year ago. So the federal government, the federal Liberal Party, has not benefited from their management of the pandemic to date, at least in terms of how it would be perceived in an election. Well, there's always all sorts of mystical discussion about the best timing, the optimal timing. It's almost like, watching shamans try to work this out. But the truth is, real political pros know you only call an election when you think you can win it. And the two things that you need to have in order to win are, first of all, a lead, and an enduring lead. The second thing you need is momentum. At the present time, the federal Liberal Party has neither, and as a result would be, I would say, very brave to call an election in this current context. They would probably need at least a lead of double digits in Ontario and Quebec, and overall nationwide see themselves pushing into 40, and those numbers progressing over a period of weeks, so the momentum is building. Without that, they'd probably end up right back in the minority situation that they're in now, so the advantage of having an election is not obvious. Well, we usually have a real conversation at the start of an election campaign about how we're going to do this and whether or not it's legitimate to do it or whether or not it's the right time. The public gets over that, and we figure out a way to run an election campaign. So I expect, just as in New Brunswick and in British Columbia they'll figure it out, I suspect at the federal level we figure it out too. The real barrier isn't that. The real barrier is the situation the federal Liberals find themselves in right now, which is not knocking on the door of a majority. And if they're not going to win a majority, there's really no point in having an election, at least for them. For the opposition parties, they could also trigger an election campaign. So a vote of non-confidence over the speech from the throne or the upcoming version of the budget that the Liberals will bring forward. All three opposition parties would have to vote together against the government to trigger an election. At the moment, none of them has a big lead. There's no real big momentum on the opposition side either. So the incentive to call an election campaign is not particularly high, especially when they know that they're going to be going back into the House of Commons again, that the WE hearings will start again. The Ethics Commissioner is going to be issuing at some point a report on the Prime Minister's behavior and the former Minister of Finance's behavior about what happened on the WE in the WE issue. So there's all sorts of incentive for the opposition parties to get back to the House of Commons and to get this cycle started again.